Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Houston Sports Talk back into the video day, and today the NFL has announced the 2025 NFL schedule. Let's get into what this schedule looks like. We're going to go over some important dates that you need to know for the 2025 NFL season. We're not going to go over every game, but I'm going to go over every primetime game that you will see and other important games that might not be primetime, but will be very important matchups. I will go over the full list of Week 1 games, and then the rest of the season we'll just go over, primetime games, maybe important matchups during some of those weeks. All right, so Week 1, we already knew this, but we'll see the Cowboys-Eagles in the opening night, which should be a really fun one to watch. Then the next day, we'll see another Friday opener in Brazil. Last year was the Packers versus last year's Packers-Eagles. This year's Chiefs-Chargers. And Chiefs-Chargers should be more interesting than the Packers and Eagles were last year, and that was a great game. But next, let's get into the Sunday games, because on Sunday, we will see the Dolphins versus the Colts, which either be Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson starting. And here's another one that I think this can be one of the most interesting games in the early Sunday slate. Steelers-Jets. This should be an interesting one with two good defenses, but this could be two quarterbacks going up against each other. Two quarterbacks going up against each other that played for, the opposing team last season. Because you're going to see that with Justin Fields. You're going to see Justin Fields going up against his former team. But this game could be Aaron Rodgers going back to New York. And honestly, here's where I'll get honest. I don't know why this isn't a national televised game. Like the Jets and Steelers, you ask me, they're probably two of the teams last year who were televised on national television too much for me. But watching Justin Fields go up against his former team, Aaron Rodgers potentially go up against his former team, that would be a fun one to watch. I don't know how it's not a game you don't put on the national television slate. If Rodgers ends up in if Rodgers ends up in Pittsburgh, and this matchup tells me that most likely Rodgers is going to end up in Pittsburgh. But yeah, then you see Carolina versus Jacksonville. It's early 12 o'clock, which will be, that will be Travis Hunter's first game. Cardinals Saints, which will be an easy win for the Cardinals. Giants Commanders, which will, Giants Commanders should be an interesting matchup. Russ versus Jaden Daniels. Buccaneers Falcons, it should be a very interesting divisional matchup between those two teams. We'll see Browns versus Bengals. Bengals should get off to an easier start than they did last year, if you ask me. And then we will see a divisional matchup between the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers. Darnold's first game as a Seahawk in Seattle. Detroit versus Green Bay should be a very interesting game. Detroit's first game without their two coordinators. Texans at Rams. Rams' first game back at home since the wildfires. First Sunday night football of the year will be Baltimore at Buffalo. Hopefully it can be better than last year's Sunday night football between these two teams. Then Monday Night Football should be a very interesting one. Two second-year quarterbacks. One of these guys playing in his first game ever. J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings versus Caleb Williams and the Bears. That's going to be a tough game for J.J. McCarthy, I'm predicting. Monday Night Football, I think your first game ever in your career is going to be hard no matter what. But it being a Monday Night Football game and a hostile crowd, look, Chicago might, it might not be you might look at them and say, oh, this is a great team. But any crowd in Week 1 Monday Night Football is going to be hyped. And that is going to be a tough crowd for a rookie quarterback to go and play, in my opinion. Let's get to Week 2. All right, Week 2. Not going to go over everything, but we're going to go over some of these matchups. The Thursday Night Football will be Washington at Green Bay. Jordan Love versus Jaden Daniels. We've got some interesting games on the Sunday slate. You've got Cincinnati versus Jacksonville. That'll be fun to watch with, Joe Burrow going up against Trevor Lawrence, and you've got Travis Hunter versus Jamar Chase. You got Dallas versus the Giants. Should be a fun one right there. Dak Prescott versus Russell Wilson. Detroit versus Chicago. This is going to be an interesting one. Ben Johnson making his return to Detroit. Gonna go over. Not gonna go over all these games that are we will see in week 2. But you've also got the Cardinals versus the Panthers. They had a really interesting. They had a really interesting game last year in overtime. You've got the Super Bowl rematch at 3:25 on September 14th. The Chiefs and the Eagles. Then Monday Night Football that week. The Texans versus Bucks. They had a thriller a couple years ago, and then this is a doubleheader. I like this what the NFL is doing this year. The doubleheaders they're doing. The second game is on after the first game. Texans Bucks start at 6:00. Raiders and Chargers start at 9. I don't want to see the doubleheader where one game's on and the other game is on. Starts a little bit after that. I want to see a doubleheader where the first game starts earlier, like 6:00, like the Texans Bucks do, and then the Raiders and Chargers start 9. It's not bad if the Raiders and Chargers start at 9. That's starting at 7:00 if you're in Vegas or if you're in LA. So yeah, let's get to week 3. So week 3, we'll see Thursday Night Football, Buffalo versus Miami. That should be a fun one. Hopefully, it's better than last year's Thursday Night Football between those two teams. That was a one you fall asleep to. We will also that week see Eagles versus Rams, which will be a rematch of the divisional round. And some other matchups we will see. I think Vikings-Bengals that week should be interesting. Texans versus Jags week 3 is a matchup I would circle because that is going to be a very interesting game where you've got a lot of interesting matchups there. If Travis Hunter's playing cornerback, he's going up against Nico Collins at wide receiver. If Travis Hunter's playing wide receiver, he's going up against Derek Stingley. If there's one more, and then also just the fact that Hunter and Collins, two great wide receivers, and the two great quarterbacks of Trevor Lawrence and C.J. Stroud. That's going to be a fun one right there. For watching that matchup for the first time, when Hunter in a Jacksonville uniform going up against his Texas team, going up against Collins and Derek Stingley Jr. If Hunter's playing both ways of the ball. Next, we've got Bears Cowboys should be interesting. An interesting matchup. Sunday Night Football in week 3 is the Chiefs at Giants. And then Monday Night Football that week is, I think, should be a great game. Lions versus Ravens in Baltimore. Let's get to week 4. Week 4, we will see Seahawks Cardinals as the Thursday Night Football. That should be interesting. And then getting into the international games. International game that week, we have the Steelers versus the Vikings. That should be a very interesting one. That game is in London. And so I think to see that matchup right there, Steelers versus Vikings, very well. I think it's very well interesting because if Aaron Rodgers is in Pittsburgh, that's a rematch for Aaron Rodgers because last year Aaron Rodgers got his butt kicked in London versus the Vikings. That's an opportunity, and the Vikings did not want to sign him. That would be an opportunity for Aaron Rodgers to try to show the Vikings something. The same week we'll also see in week 4 in the early slate we'll see the Falcons versus the Commanders. I think that's an interesting matchup where you see Jaden Daniels versus Michael Penix go up against each other, and I think that you saw a really nice battle the last time we saw these two teams go up against each other. You could see another one right there. Eagles Bucks, that should be a very interesting one right there. That's an early 12 o'clock game, and then Titans Texans, seeing Cam Ward versus C.J. Stroud go at it for the first time. We'll also see Jags 49ers. I think any matchup is going to be interesting for Travis Hunter, but it will be interesting to see him go up against that 49ers defense and him potentially have to go up against Deebo Samuel if he's at the cornerback position. Then we will see that same week we will see the Chiefs versus Ravens early on CBS, or not early, but 3:25 CBS. And then Sunday Night Football, I'm excited for this one. Packers versus Cowboys, Sunday Night Football. That is going to be a good one. Then we got a Monday night doubleheader that week in Week 4. Jets versus Dolphins, 6:15, and Bengals Broncos, 7:15. So that's what I'm talking about, where you have the two Monday night games and they're hour 30 apart. As you know, I think it's going to be it's going to be much better when you see a Monday night game start at 6 o'clock. You see a game start at 6 o'clock and a game that started at 9 o'clock. Let's get to Week 5. You got the 49ers and the Rams, Thursday Night Football. You got an international game between the Vikings and the Browns, which is going to be an 8:30 game. And I believe that one is in London as well. I want to say that's in London. That week in the Sunday games of Week 5, you got the Cowboys Jets, you got the Broncos Eagles, you got the Texans Ravens. That should be a fun one. You've got Seahawks Bucks. Should be interesting to see Darnold and Baker go at it. Some really good late afternoon games. Bengals Detroit, Chargers Commanders. Sunday night that week is Bills Patriots. Monday night that week is Jags Chiefs. Let's get to Week 6. All right, Week 6. Thursday night that week is Russell Wilson versus Jalen Hurts, Eagles, Giants. We've got another international game, Jets, Broncos, which will be an international game. I want to say that's in London. I don't think that's the third London game. I'm not quite sure. That Jets Broncos game. That might be, but you know what? That might be in Berlin. Then you've got that week that October 12th, which is Week 6. You have actually not that much of an intriguing week of football. You've got the Packers Bengals, which should be interesting. Outside of that, there's nothing. Rams Ravens, I think, should be fun. Outside of that, there's nothing that really catches my eye. Chiefs Lions should be a very interesting Sunday Night Football that week. Then you got a Monday night doubleheader of Washington versus Chicago, which should be interesting, and then Atlanta Buffalo. Then let's go to Week 7. Week 7 Thursday night is Pittsburgh Cincinnati. That should be good. Kansas City versus Vegas should be interesting. New look Raiders. Then you've got, what else do we got? You got Broncos Giants. Russell going up against his former team in Denver. Him playing in Denver for the first time since him leaving Denver. That should be interesting. And then Commanders Dak Prescott versus Jaden Daniels. Dak Prescott's never gone up against Jaden Daniels. Cooper Rush played and started in both the games against the Commanders last year. And then Sunday Night Football that week is 49ers Falcons. Monday Night Football is a doubleheader that week. Same thing with that 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I think is going to be really good. Lions Buccaneers as the first game at 6, and then Texans Seahawks is the second game. Let's get to Week 8. Week 8. We won't see Halloween football again this year, but because October 26th is. October 26th, October 27th is when we'll see football played. You've got the Thursday night game with the Chargers and the Vikings. And then the rest of the week on Sunday, you've got Eagles, Giants. You've got Texans, 49ers. DeMeco Ryans coaching against his former team that he coached for as the defensive coordinator. You got Dallas at Denver, should be a good game. Sunday night is Green Bay versus Pittsburgh. I love these old rivalries as Sunday nights. You got Green Bay versus Dallas, Green Bay versus Pittsburgh. I really like those matchups. Monday Night Football that week is going to be a fun one. Commanders at Chiefs. Let's get to Week 9. Week 9, we've got Ravens, Dolphins, Thursday Night Football. We've got Bears, Bengals that week at 12 o'clock. Lions, Commanders should be interesting. And then outside of that, I think Falcons, Patriots should be interesting that week. Texans, Broncos, Raiders, Jacksonville should be very interesting. Monday Night Football that week is Cowboys, Cardinals. Let's get to week 10. Week 10, which is beginning of November. Raiders, Broncos is Thursday Night Football. And then during the week, you've got Giants, Bears. You've got the Commanders and the Lions, which should be an interesting matchup. You got the 49ers and the Rams. You've got the Texans and Jags again. Sunday Night Football is Chargers and Pittsburgh. Monday Night Football is a rematch between the Packers and the Eagles, which will be very interesting. Let's get to Week 11. Week 11, you see a Thursday Night Football between the Jets and the Patriots. Again, I hope this is more interesting than what we saw between these two teams last time around on Thursday Night Football. And let's get to the week of football on Sunday and Monday of Week 11. You will see Washington, Miami. Should be an interesting matchup right there. You'll see Cam Ward versus C.J. Stroud again. You'll see J.J. McCarthy versus Caleb Williams again. Russell Wilson versus Jordan Love with the Packers and the Giants. Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati. Jacksonville versus Chargers should be a good game. Rams versus Seattle. That will be Cooper Kupp's return to LA, which will be very interesting. There's a lot of divisional matchups this week. You've got Broncos, Chiefs, but the Sunday Night Football is Detroit at Eagles for Sunday Night Football. Monday Night Football that week is Dallas at Vegas. Dallas has way too many nationally televised games. Let's get to Week 12, Thursday Night Football, Bills, Texans. That week you've got the Steelers and the Bears. It could be Aaron Rodgers right there playing his son. Aaron Rodgers hasn't played the Bears since he left Green Bay. That would be an interesting one if he does sign in Pittsburgh. Patriots, Bengals. Be a good chance for the Bengals to try to get some revenge after losing Week 1, which really hurt them. Might have made the playoffs if they won that game. You'll see Russ versus the Lions with the Giants and the Lions. Packers versus the Vikings. Chiefs versus the Colts. Cowboys, Eagles that week. You've got Sunday Night Football, Bucks, Rams. Monday Night Football, Bryce Young getting some love going up against the 49ers, Panthers, 49ers. That should be an interesting week, I think. Let's get to Week 13, though. Week 13, this goes on to December. That's when things are getting good and things are coming to an end. How about this? This is Thanksgiving. I think this is probably one of the most interesting Thursday night. This is probably one of the most interesting Thanksgivings we're gonna see. I've been watching football since 2016. I think it's gonna be one of the best Thanksgiving footballs I've seen. You've got Packers, Lions is the first game. Chiefs, Cowboys is the second. And then Bengals, Ravens. It's going to be a fun Thanksgiving. And then the Black Friday game, which I thought was better this year. I think this game has potential to be better than the last 2 years. Bears, Eagles. Let's go to the Sunday games. Not as much with the Thanksgiving and Black Friday, but you've got Titans versus Jags, Cam Ward and Travis Hunter. You've got... It's not that much of an interesting week of football, but you've got Seahawks versus Vikings, which is Sam Darnold going against his former team. You've got Steelers versus Bills, and you've got Chargers versus Raiders. Sunday Night Football's Commanders, Broncos. Monday Night Football's Patriots, Giants. That should be a fun one right there. Week 14. Week 14, you've got Cowboys at Lions for Thursday Night Football. Sunday, you've got Seahawks at Falcons. Bears at Packers. You've got Bengals at Bills. Broncos going to, Baltimore. Pittsburgh going to, Broncos going to Las Vegas. Pittsburgh's going to Baltimore. Monday night that week is Eagles at Chargers. You got 4 teams on the bye that week. Week 15, we get to mid-December. And you've got Thursday Night Football, Falcons, Bucks. That week, you've got Bengals and Ravens. You've got Chiefs, Chargers. Patriots, Bills. This is a week full of division rivals. Giants, Commanders, Rams, Lions, going to be a fun one. Broncos, Packers, Texans, Cardinals. Sunday Night Football is Cowboys, Vikings. Monday Night Football is Steelers, Dolphins. Let's get to Week 16. Week 16, Thursday night is Rams versus Seattle. Then we have a Saturday doubleheader. Packers, Bears, Eagles, Commanders. And then Sunday, that evening, you've got Chargers at Cowboys. You've got Mahomes versus the number 1 overall pick and Cam Ward. You've got the Giants going up against the Vikings. Patriots at Baltimore. You've got Pittsburgh at Detroit. Jacksonville at Denver. The Raiders at Houston. Cincinnati at Minnesota. Sorry, at Miami for the Sunday night game. Then the Monday night game, I don't know about putting the Colts on primetime, but 49ers at Colts will be the Monday Night Football that week. Got 2 more weeks left to go over, though. Week 17. This starts off with Christmas Day. We've got the Cowboys Commanders on Netflix. We got the Lions Vikings on Netflix. We've got on Prime Video the Chiefs in Denver Thursday night, Christmas Day. Then we go over this Sunday, which is December 28th. We will see the Browns Steelers, Titans Saints, Colts Jags, Dolphins Bucks, and Jets Patriots, Eagles Bills will be a great one. Sunday night that week will be 49ers Bears. Monday night that week will be Falcons Rams. And there's a list of games that the times have not been announced, and they're listed as potential flex games. The Bengals Cardinals, the Packers Ravens, Raiders Giants, Texans Chargers. That should be a primetime game in my opinion, with the rematch between the Texans and Chargers. And to me, it seems like this week potentially you could see a triple header on a Saturday, and I'm thinking 3 of these matchups right here could be that. That's what I am predicting. Of the matchups I just mentioned. Now, Week 18, I'm not going to go over Week 18 because we don't know any of the times or prime time yet. But you can look up the Week 18 schedule, and that's really it for the schedule of this year's NFL season. Let me know your thoughts on the schedule in the comment section, and peace out.